Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Hay and I am on the Houston campus, and I'm going to be sharing with you some information I recently learned about how to make your presentations more accessible. So I'm going to be specifically talking about images within these presentations. So images and presentations are great, right? They're a way that we can help make our documents and presentations more visually appealing, and it helps us, it's a great way to help students remember the information. And it also can help break up the content and give a visual description of an information about what we're trying to convey. But when we're using these images and documents in presentations, we need to make sure that they are accessible and able to be understood by individuals who might not be able to see them as clearly, or if at all. And so you can see how if I had either of these two pictures in my presentation, they would be conveying very different information. And so having a description of what the picture is about would help those individuals who wouldn't be able to see it. So alternate text and image descriptions are two different ways that we can help convey this information. Alternative text, or sometimes called alt text, it describes the information or function represented by the image. And it's for those with visual or cognitive disability, so they can understand what's in the presentation or in the document. An image description goes into more detail about what is conveyed in the picture. So here's an example. So you see this picture on the right. An alternate text example might be something like, a child and her grandfather ride together in a go-kart. So you get some basic information about what the picture's about. But an image description would go into more detail, and so it might read something like, a child and her grandfather ride together in a go-kart. The child is raising her hands up in the air, and grandfather and child are smiling with glee. So you can see how if you heard either of those descriptions with your eyes closed, both of them would convey the information, but the image description would go into more detail. Sometimes in your documents you're just putting a picture in for it to be decorative, and so like this picture of a flower might be in one of my presentations, and it's just there to break up the slide a little bit, but it's not conveying any additional information. And so you can also mark something in alt text as a decorative image, so that lets the screen reader know that it is just a decorative image. So alt text with description. So the images that convey simple information should contain alt text with a short description of the content conveyed in the image. So you can see how if this picture was in my presentation, it's conveying some really important information. So let me show you how you would add the alt text to it. So if you right click on the image and then go down to Format Picture, and then you come over here and you click on the size and properties, and then see there's this box here that says alt text. If I leave it blank, then that lets the screen readers know that it's a decorative picture only. But this isn't a decorative picture, right? This is conveying information. And so I could put the title here of like Girl by Pool, and then the image description could be something like, a young girl reaching over edge of pool to grab orange ball floating in the pool. So you can decide maybe the fact that it's an orange ball isn't important. Maybe you want to say that she's a fully clothed girl, because that conveys a different image, right? To if it's someone that, if she's in her swimsuit and reaching, and gives you a different amount of anxiety about the picture, right? Okay. So that's all you have to do. For complex images, there's no way that in an alt text or image description you could describe everything that needs to be conveyed in this slide. And so you would need to have, and similarly like graphs and charts, there's not going to be a good way to use an alt text to describe it. So in those instances, you would have to have a full description written out that the screen reader could read to the individual who wouldn't be able to see it. A few final helpful hints. Avoid using image of or photo of as alt text unless this information is important based on the content of the page. So the screen readers aren't going to say image of or photo of. So if you type that in too, it's going to have it say it twice. So image of, image of. So alt text characters, you should shoot for 125 characters or less to ensure compatibility with popular screen readers. So 125 characters or less. If you're doing an image description, think about the length of a tweet. So you can go up to about 280 characters, but it still should be succinct and just enough details to understand it. Some other helpful hints to consider. Think about the placement of the objects in the picture. So on that picture with the pool, you want to know where the ball is in relation to the pool and the child. Colors, if they're important or not. Names of people. So these two images, I wouldn't need to include the name of the people, but if it's someone famous, if it's a picture of Barry Bonds hitting a home run or something, then you would need to include that information in the picture. Clothes, if it's an important detail, like the one of the girl next to the pool, maybe the fact that she's fully clothed should be included in the image description because that conveys a different meaning than if she was in her bathing suit. Emotions, so in their surroundings. So you look in these two pictures, what they're wearing isn't as important, their names are important, but their facial expressions and their body positions is important. So in summary, describing the images in your presentations and documents is easy to do, and it helps ensure that all students have equal access to the content. Thanks so much for listening.